Sean Lennon here with the Fightlete Report, and I'm going to do a quick recap of UFC 257, McGregor versus Poirier 2. Make sure to hit subscribe and on the YouTube channel if you're on here. If you like our content, also head over to fightlete.com for exclusive interviews and articles. You can check out our coverage of UFC 257 and future UFC events as well. Also at Fightlete on Twitter, at Fightlete on Instagram, and like the Facebook page. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Just to do a recap of pretty much the main event and co-main event of UFC 257. I will talk about, what the results were overall, but I'm going to specifically focus on those two fights. So, and we go to the main card. It started off Marina Rodriguez knocking out Amanda Ribas, and Marina Rodriguez, who was the underdog in this fight, climbs to 13-1. 54 seconds of round number 2, a huge, crazy knockout finish. I'll just say that it looked like it was done prematurely before the actual knockout happened because of the referee didn't make the call. Ribas just was out on her feet. She just tumbled. Never seen her really go that way before. However, she's now 10-2. Marina Rodriguez, very impressive performance. We have Mahmoud Muradov knocking out Andrew Sanchez. That was a TKO finish, flying knee and punches, 259 in round 3. Pretty much one-side dominance all the way for Muradov, who now climbs to 25-6. A lot of experience for the man who comes all the way, joining us from Prague in the Czech Republic, and taking on a long-time guy, Andrew Sanchez, who's been in the UFC for quite some time. Joanne Calderwood defeated Jessica Eye by unanimous decision. Competitive fight. Joanne Calderwood really countered Eye pretty well, kept the fight standing, and secured a really good win. Climbs to 15-5, while Eye falls to 15-9. Michael Chandler, Dan Hooker. Let's talk about this fight. A lot of people had Dan Hooker winning this fight because of his length, his reach, his height. Michael Chandler, I was very confident in him to win this fight. I did have him winning. He was the underdog. Personally, had predicted that this fight would go to decision, however. I thought Chandler would have an opportunity to mix in his wrestling. I thought that Hooker wouldn't have an answer to the wrestling, along with ground and pound. I thought it would be a dominant win in that regard, but I never thought that what happened would actually happen, and that was he knocked him out in the first round. I picked him to win, but I just gave Dan Hooker the respect of, hey, he's going to survive. He went in 5 rounds with Dustin Poirier in his last fight, and he managed to survive that fight. So, just naturally thinking that happened, I gave him the respect that he wasn't gonna come out with a knockout win, but rather Chandler was going to wear him down and over the course of 5 rounds just dominate Hooker, and using that top game wrestling, which he's known for, using a smashing offense from the top, and then obviously he's got huge power when he's standing. But wow, it didn't take long for Michael Chandler to be welcomed to the UFC with his first UFC victory overall. And I definitely had him winning by unanimous decision. Didn't see that coming, however. But Michael Chandler getting it done at UFC 257, his first victory. We don't know what's next for him. I think he looks really good that he might fight Dustin Poirier next. But whoever answers the call, whether it be Charles Oliveira, I think Justin Gaethje, I think Chandler is ready to mix it up with the best in the UFC, and this answered a lot of questions regarding that. Love his speech at the end. He said, Habib, you want to come 30-0? Come on, man. You want to take me on? I'm ready for it. Then he's like, Dustin Poirier, your time is coming. And he said, Conor McGregor, move away. There's a new king at 155. I really liked the hype behind that. He lived up to the hype. And Michael Chandler, former two-time Bellator welterweight lightweight champion, definitely showed up and showed he's in the UFC 155-pound division, making a splash. A big-time splash, and I thought it was the most impressive performance that I've seen personally. The left hook and then ground and pound TKO, first round finish. Once he gets on top, that's it. It's over with. But the first, that left hook, man, the huge power that Chandler has in those hands. Very compact, very shorter fighter for that division. But when he unwinds, he lets go of that power, it's lights out. And Dan Hooker found that. He falls to 20-10, while Chandler climbs to 22-5. Then we get to the main event, Dustin the Diamond Poirier, Conor McGregor. So I had some notes on this fight. And what we saw was in the first round, McGregor getting some success, right? Using his wide stance, obviously, and, being ready for Dustin Poirier at anything Dustin Poirier had to bring. Although he connected, Dustin Poirier did not shy down from the fight. He came back and he started fighting back pretty well. Like, he was countering, and he was getting his shots in. When we go look at the calf kicks, this is the difference. The calf kicks would be very effective against Conor McGregor. And Dustin Poirier said, I hit hard. And Conor's wide stance made it hard for him to check the kick. Because, Conor has that wide stance where he's bobbing and weaving back and forth. And so he was kicking into the check kick. But he said that, although his kicks may have been checked at times, Conor McGregor wasn't checking the kicks correctly. He was getting the bad part of the kick, and swelling in the calf has nowhere to go. Unlike a thigh, where, the pain can be spread out. Getting it into your calf is like a compartment syndrome. It gets stuck in the pockets, the swelling, and that is really what hindered Conor McGregor's progression in this fight. I would say overall that this is a great performance. And then we saw him just unload on Conor McGregor. We kind of see him up against the fence in the second round. Then Dustin Poirier kind of ducks and gets into the center of the cage. Conor's back against the fence and really just stayed there. And Dustin Poirier was able to unload on Conor. It seemed like Conor might be able to survive, but then it was a hit. And this was a shocking knockout. I had Conor McGregor winning this fight in the second round, but of course, by knockout, but of course it was Dustin Poirier who got the job done, second round knockout. And all I can say is that Dustin Poirier puts himself in a terrific spot. He could possibly fight Khabib Nurmagomedov if Khabib was interested and wanting to come back and fight against him. We don't know. For Conor McGregor, he wants that rematch. He's harassing everyone for a rematch, according to his coach, John Kavanagh, on Aaron Helwani's MMA show. Said he'd love to get that rematch here before the summer. Maybe not. He drifts off into boxing. But now they're tied 1-1. So you got to imagine a rubber match could be happening in the future between these two. And, the injuries. Dustin Poirier is suspended only 7 days for mandatory tests, while Conor McGregor is suspended 180 days until his right tibular fibula x-ray is cleared by a doctor. Suspended 45 days with no contact for 30 days. So maybe a May-June return could be it. But for Dustin Poirier, he's got Justin Gaethje who recently said he wants to fight him. He's got maybe Khabib Nurmagomedov, who might have gained interest, who might be intrigued for the rematch, or Charles Oliveira. And we have Michael Chandler in the mix. So, there's plenty of opponents for Dustin Poirier besides Conor McGregor for him to fight next. It all boils down to what UFC does. And if Khabib Nurmagomedov is done with UFC, then you'd have to imagine there'll be potentially a new lightweight champion crown in a fight featuring Dustin Poirier. So I think that at this point, Dustin Poirier is in the perfect position. He stole Conor McGregor's thunder. McGregor was going to go for that rematch against Khabib Nurmagomedov. UFC was trying to entice Khabib, saying this is the biggest rematch of all time, and the numbers are astronomical of what a pay-per-view buys, of what this would do. Khabib Nurmagomedov, his destiny is still in question, right? We don't know what the future holds, whether he returns to the octagon or not. He didn't make that clear to Dana White when they had the meeting. But you got to imagine that Dustin Poirier warrants a rematch with Khabib Nurmagomedov. Maybe gets one fight before that eventual rematch happens. Maybe takes on Chandler or Gaethje. You never know. So I think that this is a great position for Dustin Diamond Poirier to be in. And I feel like he's very deserving of this opportunity. He did very well against Conor McGregor. He knew going into that he had to forgive himself for what happened in the first fight. Obviously, you can never forget what Conor McGregor did to him in that first fight in the first round, knocking him out, embarrassing him. Conor McGregor, just his trajectory went skyrocketing, while Dustin Poirier kind of played the gatekeeper. I won't say gatekeeper, but he was kind of like he then made that decision to move to 155, but kind of had to start from scratch. So, then impressive wins, but this is Dustin Poirier's time. Dustin Poirier is ready to go whenever UFC calls on him next. Well, this is it for the Fightlete Report. UFC 257 recap. Hope everybody enjoyed it. Remember to subscribe if you're on YouTube, at Fightlete on Twitter, Instagram, and check out fightlete.com. I'm your host, Sean Lennon. God bless you guys. Take care. Be safe. And we'll be back next week with more MMA news. And we'll do a preview for UFC Fight Night coming up. We got Volkov versus Overeem, which happens on February 6th, is the main card. So that's going to be a huge one. So make sure to check out the Fightlete Report. We'll be back next week talking about UFC Vegas 18 with Overeem versus Volkov in the main event. Also featuring Corey Sandhagen and Frankie Edgar. Diego Ferreira versus Beneil Dariush as well. And another fight that was added that's getting a lot of traction is Cody Stamann and Andre Ewell at 135 pounds of bantamweight division. So it is stacked for UFC Super Bowl weekend, UFC Fight Night, Overeem versus Volkov. So stay tuned. This is Sean Lennon with the Fight Report, and we'll be back soon. Take care, everyone.